Hi everyone, this is Dov Hershkovich. I'm here with Nadia Sotnikova, our UX designer, and this is a pipeline authoring 14.4 kickoff video. Let me share my screen. And as always, we do have a planning issue underneath the pipeline authoring project, issue number 26, where you can see all the issues that are assigned to this iteration, and you can ask questions and collaborate on topics that are related to the planning on 14.4. And to start with the goals of this milestone, similar to the previous milestone, we are going to focus mainly on technical debt, bugs, and performance, because we want to improve SaaS reliability and overall reliability of the product. So all of the backend issues are mainly technical debt, performance, and bug-related fixes. I want to maybe cover on one of them, which is a fine example on how a performance issue can influence the user experience. So in this issue, we want to parallelize the HTTP calls of remote includes, because we've been noticing that there is some timeout, and when doing validation of the linter, when there are many includes. So the idea is to parallelize those calls, and in that way we can improve the overall performance, but we can also fix, maybe provide some sort of a fix to users that are using our includes in high scale. So there is a kind of an old issue that the linter is timed out because when users are using more than 50 includes, so you can imagine probably like large customers that are doing that, there are a lot of tickets. And we kind of suspect that this problem probably get resolved or will get better if we will fix this technical debt that we have. So I think this is one of those examples where you can, one, complete the technical debt issue, fix the technical debt, and also by doing that, improving the user experience of one of the key problems that we experience in the product. And of course, there are more issues like that. Two more issues that I want to call out from the front end. One of them is adding the pipeline mini graph to the pipeline editor. Today, if you've been using the pipeline editor, you can see that we provide an indicator for the overall pipeline status. And then you have the view pipeline link where you can go and see the pipeline graph, the complete view of all your jobs. We want to add the mini graph, which is a component that we can add to that pipeline. And with that, you can not only see the overall status, but you can see the status of each individual job. And you can even click on each job and go to that job page. We've been noticing that a lot of our engineers and engineers that we've been interviewing, I like to interact with the pipeline mini graph because it provides them with an easy way of first understand how the pipeline looks and quickly navigate to a specific job that they want to look at. And this is why we believe that this is a good improvement for the pipeline editor. And the second one is the auto-completion of a CI keyword. If you remember in the previous iteration, and actually this iteration, we are currently working on building the foundation for the syntax highlighting and the autocomplete. So I really hope that we'll be able to complete this issue on time, and then we'll be able to start working on improving the autocomplete of CI keyword. And the idea is we'll have the ability for the user that use the pipeline editor to suggest all the available keyword and suggest the available keyword based on the right value. So not only have those value, but also the right values. For instance, when I type when colon space, I'll be able to see all the options that comes with the keyword when. And if you've been using the pipeline editor, you maybe stumble upon the autocomplete capability. It exists, but it's a bit buggy and doesn't work all the time. And in this issue, we want to make sure we are fixing it so it will be available. We kind of realize that it is only working when you hitting the space key. So there are some problems there. So the idea here is to fix the autocomplete, so we'll have like something that we can work on. And as I mentioned, it is a part of the overall autocomplete epic, where the idea is not to have only the auto suggestion, but also to have some sort of a description and then a link to our documentation. Obviously, we need to flesh out the design, but this is the first step that we are doing toward working on and adding the autocomplete functionality to the pipeline editor. With that said, I'm going to hand it over to Nadia, and she's going to talk about the scope of work for this iteration. Take it away, Nadia.
Thanks, Dov. Hi, everyone. So let me share my screen and dive into some of the UX issues for 14.4. So I'm just going to cover the top 4 issues that I think are the most interesting. One of them is that we want to surface the links to the CI/CD configuration includes in your GitLab CI YAML file in the pipeline editor. So we had a spike issue exploring how we might do that. Initially, we wanted to make the includes clickable in the file. That is proving to be a bit difficult technically. We might still look into doing that in the future in some way, but for now, we want to surface those links. So all of the links to your configuration includes in the pipeline editor. So I will be working on this design issue to figure out what is going to look like inside the pipeline editor. And we view it as sort of one step in the direction of having a way for you to navigate between all of your different configuration files inside the pipeline editor. So eventually this might grow into something like having a multi-file editor similar to what you would have in WebID. But for now, we just want to start with providing a list of links to all of your includes, so you would be able to view them in one place. So that's one issue. Another issue that I will be working on is solution validation for adding a pipeline creation simulation to the pipeline editor. So this is the design issue that I worked on in the previous milestone. And the idea here is that we want to allow you to simulate pipeline creation for the selected branch in the pipeline editor. So this is the feature that we're really excited about because it makes it much easier for you to troubleshoot your pipeline. Currently, the pipeline editor already has linting, so continuous linting as you're typing your configuration, but it only does the syntax checks. So it doesn't really check your pipeline logic, things like rules and job dependencies and things like that. So the pipeline creation simulation will solve for that, and you would be able to also test your pipeline logic without leaving the pipeline editor. So I will be running some solution validation, gathering feedback on it to see if we can improve the layout or the UI copy to make sure that everything is clear and easy to use. So I opened the same issue. So the other 2 issues are also very exciting and have a lot of upvotes. So one of them is to allow you to retry manual jobs with different variables. So as you can see, the issue has more than 100 upvotes. So for this particular issue, there are 2 main problems. One problem is that currently when you retry a manual job that's been that has some custom variables set up for it, we don't inherit those variables during a retry. So we will fix that. So if you run a manual job with custom variables, we will make sure to use those variables when we retry those jobs. So that's part of the proposal. Another part of the proposal is to take it a step further and to allow you to override those variables and to set variables for retrying your job. So if you want to troubleshoot your job, you want to try it with different variables, you will be able to do so. And we have some preliminary mockups for that, and I will be running solution validation to see if this can further be improved. But the idea is to have a variables tab on the job page. So you would be able to see the variables that are being used for that job and to override those variables to retry the job with custom variables. So for now, we're just looking at this within the scope of manual jobs, but this feature could also be very useful for any jobs in your pipeline. So we'll be looking into that as well. And the last one that I want to cover is allowing you to retry the failed jobs in the downstream pipelines. So this is a very interesting issue that covers lots of different use cases. So when you have a complex pipeline configuration with a lot of downstream pipelines and you have failed jobs in some of your downstream pipelines, there's currently no easy way to retry all of those failed jobs from the pipeline graph, so from one place, because you might have dozens of downstream pipelines, and it's very time consuming for you to go into each downstream pipeline and to retry those individual failed jobs. And at the same time, if you wanted to just retry the whole pipeline, that's just very costly, because now you have to run all of those downstream pipelines just to retry some of those failed jobs. So we're looking into different solutions that could solve this problem. And there are several different approaches that we're considering. For instance, adding an option to retry the failed jobs to the trigger jobs. So you would be able to retry the failed jobs in all of your downstream pipelines from the trigger job. And we're also considering some things like adding the retry button to a downstream pipeline, for example. So that would allow you to retry the downstream pipeline from the pipeline graph. So there will also be some more exploration, and we will be gathering feedback around which of these solutions should be prioritized and so on. So yeah, as you can see, lots of really exciting issues that I will be working on in terms of UX in 14.4. If you want to check out the other issues that I will be working on, there will be lots of solution validation, for example, pipeline editor usability testing that will hopefully help us uncover some ways to improve the pipeline editor UI and fix some minor quirks in its behavior. So yeah, stay tuned for those updates and feel free to click through to the issues in the planning issue itself. Yeah, do you want to add anything else to that, Dov?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Nadia. No, but as always, if any of you have any thoughts, questions, or complaints, you can reach out to me, Nadia, or even better, write a comment on the planning issue. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.